honest answer. Right? He says, this is what happens to all of us. Then he asks, does it happen to me? Yes, it happens. Will it happen to my father? Yes, it will. Will it happen to my mother? No, the mother was passed away. Will it happen to the people in my palace? Yes. Will it happen to my wife? Yes, it will happen. Next day, he was on the way and he saw a sick person. He asked the same thing. So he was encountering this is reality of life, isn't it? The things that we can't avoid, they are always real. What are the things that we can't avoid? The first thing, aging is something that we can't avoid. Although it is difficult to admit, that's the truth. Yes, yeah. In one sermon I did in Basildon, there came a lady who was refusing to admit that she's getting old. I don't want to admit that I'm getting old. I don't want to think it. I told her, although you don't think it, it happens. From the moment you were conceived in mother's womb, you started aging. It's not the moment that you came out from the mother's womb, from the moment you conceived in the mother's womb, you started aging. The Buddha gives a beautiful simile for aging. The sun rises from the east and it sets from the west. The Buddha says it does not stop a single minute. It always goes towards the west. In the same way, beings who are born are subjected to aging. Now you may think, okay, why always Buddhism talks about aging, sickness, death, right? Why? So many people complain that Buddhism is a religion of pessimistic religion or a negative. Always talks about these miserable things in life. Why can't you? I've heard of these things. They say, why can't you talk about positive things? Right? See, Buddha says that the Buddha's teachings are not pessimistic. Buddha doesn't say, oh, life is miserable, you should give up everything. No. Buddha doesn't say like that. And also the Buddha doesn't say, no, life is dreamy, beautiful, Even the Buddha doesn't say like that. It's not pessimistic, it's not optimistic. Buddha's teachings are realistic, which means Buddha says that there are unavoidable realities in life that you have to go through. The only thing that you will have to do is to go through them. So you have to go through them. You have to face them. The only thing that you have to do is to face it with a strong mind. Face the reality with a strong mind. How to face the reality with a strong mind? Not by denying it, not by forgetting it, or not by running away from these realities, but by accepting them. Developing the heart, developing the mind to accept the hard realities in life. Acceptance is the first step of healing. I'll tell you this. Have you been in places in your life that people have hurt your feelings and you've fallen down, you break down? You all have been in such places, isn't it? the reason why it creates pain, so much pain again and again, is that we are not ready to accept that they did that. It happened. Our heart, our mind, in our heart, we wish that it didn't happen. Right? And we wish that, oh, that person will be good again. Treat me in a good way again. The more we reject what is true, the more it will create the pain. The day that you accept, okay, this is what happened to me. This is the reality. This is the true condition, the true nature of my life. I accept it. The day you accept, your heart, your mind get ready to move on. Only when you do that you can heal. Right? Buddha teaches us a beautiful story to see the difference of a normal person's reaction and a person who understands the reality of life. It's a difference. What's the difference? Buddha teaches us that. Buddha says, an average person, a normal person, right, doesn't much contemplate on healing his heart, making his mind strong enough to face the reality, who is not ready to do that. They go through these pain and sufferings in life. Painful feelings. We all go through them. And also the Buddha says that a noble person means a person who is ready to accept the reality of life and who understand about the Four Noble Truths. That person also feels unpleasant feelings, painful feelings. Being a good person doesn't mean that you are escaped from pains and sufferings. Some people complain like, I'm a good person, I treat everyone kindly, but why everything, all the bad things happen to me? You know? Sometimes we think like, I'm a good person, but why always me? Have you asked the question from yourself, why always me? I've done that a lot. Okay. One advice that my teacher gave me, because I was someone who was, in the beginning, I was someone who was a lot worried about all the pain and suffering that I had to go through, and I always asking why this happened to me. And when you become a monk, the only person that who you can totally understand and know who you are is the teacher, right? So I went to my teacher and I said, like, I have all these problems and conditions in my life, and I'm in a monastery. It is really hard to be there, difficult to be there. And he gave me this wonderful advice. He said, don't ask why this happened to me. Ask, how can I deal with it? That's the only thing that he said. What did he say? Do not ask why this happened to me. Ask, how can I deal with this? Okay. Don't complain. Just complaining doesn't solve anything. Worrying doesn't solve anything. So the Buddha teaches that being a good person doesn't mean that you're spared or you escaped from painful feelings in life. You will always go through them. Although you do all the merits and good karma and everything, doesn't mean that you escape from aging, sickness, no nothing. Right? Sometimes people go to places, Sometimes people go to the Bodhi tree and they beg from the Bodhi tree that the Bodhi tree somehow come and cure their diseases. It won't happen. Right? Because it is the reality of life. Unavoidable reality. So the Buddha teaches that there are things that you have to go through. Both good and bad people go through similar experiences. But what is the difference between a wise person and an average person? Buddha says, when a normal person feels suffering, pain and full feelings in life, the normal reaction is he worries, laments, crying. Buddha uses a wonderful word. It says, beating his chest, he cries, fall down, break down, and loses his consciousness, mindfulness. That is what happens to people. That is what happened to all of us. Now it's not happening right now. Or when it comes to the problem, now we will be the same. Okay. But a wise person, it's different. I'll tell you the difference. First, the Buddha says that he worries, he laments, he cries, and he beats his chest, break down, and then loses his mindfulness, the consciousness. The Buddha says that it's something like this. A person traveling through the jungle, he get hit by an arrow. A person traveling through the jungle and he get hit by an arrow. As soon as he got hit by an arrow, he will get hit by another arrow. How many arrows are there? 2. How many pains are there? 2. Pain from the first arrow, pain from the second arrow. The Buddha says the first arrow is an accident. First arrow is unavoidable. You can't avoid it because you don't know when it is coming towards you, how, from what direction it is coming towards you. The only thing that happens is that you will get hit by it. Okay, first arrow is unavoidable. But the second arrow is not an accident. The Buddha says, second arrow is a choice. Why did Buddha say this? Is that when he got hit by the first arrow, if he is mindful, he could have been more mindful of a second arrow. He could have avoided, right? By being aware, by being mindful. The second arrow is something that is under control. In the same way, when he or she go through painful feelings in life, painful feeling is unavoidable. That is something that you can't avoid. But worrying is optional. That is why there's a beautiful saying that says, suffering is inevitable, but worrying is optional. I know now what you're thinking. What is it? Easy. from the kitchen door and says, "Open your ears." I say, "Just move." That's the only thing that I say. And there starts the Third World War. Right after that. That was silly, but here's the thing. I know why she becomes angry is, first there's a trigger, but it is also the pain and suffering. Okay? Children, don't do that, okay? Don't learn bad things. Okay. I was very sad about doing it, I was worrying about why did I do this, but that's the silliness, right? So, the Buddha says that when you go through pain and suffering, first you start to hate yourself, then you start to spread that anger, towards. Sometimes, when people become angry, it's not the thing that made them angry. It's not the trigger that made them angry. Sometimes a series of problems, series of suffering that he or she has gone through her day, or through his day, or through his life. And at one point, they explode. That is what happens. Sometimes when you're working in your workspace, you may find such people who get easily exploded. It's not because they are bad. Sometimes their day is bad. Sometimes they are having a bad day. Or sometimes all of their days are bad. Yes, there are some people like that. So that happens. So when you hate yourself, when you generate anger towards that pain, it creates some more pain. We add some more pain into existing suffering. Okay. Now it is more painful. Who created that? Us. We created it. Okay. And the next step. Now it is more painful, even more painful. Now he needs to distract his mind from this pain. So the Buddha says, to distract his mind from pain and suffering, he chases behind the sensual pleasure. That's what the normal thing that we do. When we go through a tough time, we need to distract ourselves. So what people do, they go to the bar, right? Just have a shot. That to numb the pain and suffering. That's the normal reaction, isn't it? Yes. Or then they go through these different ways of seeking sensual pleasure. Now the Buddha doesn't say that it is wrong. What Buddha says is that it doesn't solve the problem. Only what you're doing is you're numbing your pain and suffering, or you're forgetting your pain and suffering, but still the problem is there. There was one of my school friends who was a very professional in drinking. Okay. He is someone, every evening, he is drunk. Okay. I was not worried about his drunk, I was worried about his health. This guy is very skinny. And from the look, you can see, if you saw him, from the look you can see that there is something wrong. So, but I admired him because he had a lot of good qualities. So, sometimes I talk to him and I ask like, why? What's the problem? You tell me, why are you drinking this much? Right? Then he says, Macham. That's the singular word, Sri Lankan word for the friend. It's Macham. Okay. There's Macham's problems, family problems, relationship problems. I said, okay, problems. So what do? I drink. Then I asked, like, does the problem go away? No. Tomorrow when you wake up, still the problem is there? Yes. So what do? Drink a little? No. Does the problem go away? No. Tomorrow, next day, drink a little? No. The problem doesn't solve. So the Buddha says that, yes, people chase behind sensual pleasure, but that doesn't solve the problem. Why? The Buddha says, when you chase behind the sensual pleasure, your mind is always unsatisfied with it. There is always a missing gap, vacuum, something that is missing in all of our life. Is there something missing in your life? You think, I wish I had that thing. That's my dream. You all have, right? I have. Yeah. So, that gap, that missing space means you are suffering. So that your mind is not satisfied with all of what you have. This is what happens when people go on like addicted to drugs. This is what happens to them. First time they take the drugs, they are happy, but with the time, they are not satisfied. Something more. So they find something more. And after some time, we need a little bit more. It nudges you up. I have seen people selling their properties. Sometimes the only thing that they have to have drugs. Buddha says that it doesn't solve the problem. Next step. The Buddha says, this is how the person create excess suffering, additional suffering into suffering. Add some more suffering into suffering. What Buddha teaches us is to not to suffer more than needed. That means you will suffer in life, there is pain and suffering, but you can create less suffering by not creating some more suffering into it. I know what you're thinking now. How? How to do this? This is the difference of the wise person, the Buddha says. The wise person sees these painful feelings, difficult feelings, challenges, difficulties, sufferings in life as a part of his life. That means when you buy the package of life, you also buy the package of suffering and pain. So it's a part of the package. We think that suffering should not be there in life, while itself, its inherent nature is it. So what a wise person says is that he says it as a part of the life, so that he accepts. I was giving this speech to a group of doctors. There was one doctor who came and talked to me, and he said he's treating to the cancer patients. And he said to me, this is what we teach for cancer patients. When someone has a cancer in their body, now it is pain, right? Painful feelings in the body. They teach that to accept that there is a cancer in the body. It is a part of his body, his or her body, and it is okay to have it. Look at the cancer, look at the pain as a part of the body. Don't try to reject it. Don't try to hate it. Because when you go through pain and suffering, what we do is we hate that pain. We become angry with that pain. And he said, it is amazing, when the person becomes ready, when he gets ready to heal, when he gets ready to accept, right? It's amazing, the cancer starts to heal. There was this famous story of the Thai Buddhist nun who was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 35. Doctors said that there's nothing to do, that nothing we can do. The cancer is severe, you can't do anything. The only thing that we can do is that let her be free and be in peace for the final few days of her life. So the doctors predicted she would stay for maybe a few weeks. And she was sent to the monastery again. She came back from the hospital when she was 35. She died when she was 65. That's the power of acceptance. Not to hate your body, of not being in the way that you want. Okay. This is something that you don't, this is something that is not yours. I always say, your body is not yours. It is not something that you own. It is something that you use. When you come to this world, did you bring your body from the other world? No. You got it from here. Right? And when you leave this world, you have to keep this body and leave again. So that means you have nothing that you truly own. Have you seen this in society, in society, in the world? People build like huge companies and they think that they own it. After maybe 50 years, 60 years, 70 years after their death, the person who owns that company is not even from his bloodline, right? Not even from his relatives, no one. You don't truly own anything. We didn't bring anything from the past life, we don't take things from this life. So that means we are not owners, we are users. If you are a user, if you don't own this body, you have to use it well. Use it with proper care. It's something like you're driving your friend's car. Have you driven your friend's car and crash it on a tree? What happens? You worry a lot. This is not mine. How do you drive your friend's car? With very caution. If you're not drunk. Right? Why? Because you know that this is not something that I own, that I have to give it back. That is why I always say for youngsters and for some elders, don't scroll the phone until midnight or until late at night. Don't do that. Your body is begging for sleep, but you're not giving it. You're satisfying your mind, but the mind is not wholly, mind will never be satisfied. But your body is begging for sleep. Give me sleep. I need, but you're not ready to give it. And it gives you warnings. Sometimes our body says, no, I need your attention. Give it to me. But we are refusing it. Right? It gives you red lights. I need your attention, give it to me. Same like the red lights on your dashboard in your car. You've seen the little signs? Don't think that they are suggestions. Right? They are red lights. Says, you need to give the attention. What if you ignore that red light and drive? You can drive for some time. But you never know when you're going to get stuck, your vehicle sputter and stop in the middle of a traffic. The same way, your body that you use gives you warnings. It begs you for your attention. If you refuse to give it, it remembers everything at one time. It takes the revenge. When it takes the revenge, you have to forget all the other plans that you had and focus on this. Am I right? Yes. So, knowing that this is impermanent, that you have to take care of it. This is a porcelain cup, right? This is something that you protect. What do you value? A plastic disposable cup or this? This. Why? Because it is fragile. It breaks. No? If your child break one of your porcelain wares, what happens? That's the battle day, right? I remember I'm breaking all the porcelain wares in home. You know, in Sri Lanka you have a cabinet in home that you keep it in front of, in the living room, as a sign of, to show others your prosperity and luxury. That's a sign of luxury that you say. The more porcelain ware you have, the more luxury you are. Right? And I'm the destroyer of the luxury. I was. You know our mothers say, when you break a porcelain, Karapa. Break it. You are eating my money. That's what they say. Knowing that this is fragile, understand? You have to protect it. In the same way, your body is impermanent. Right? You have to accept that it is subjected to sickness. It's subject to aging. Okay, when you accept it, and you see it as a part of life, then you're not battling with it. Because it was something that you expected to happen. The Buddha says that always reflect that you are someone who is subjected to aging, you are subjected to sickness, and you are subjected to death. Death is a wonderful meditation. Death is something that in families a bigger taboo topic to talk about. If you talk about death, it's like you get a lot of faces. Why? Okay. How I trigger my mother is another way, is talking about death. Okay. Now you see how bad I was. Okay. We all have this, in childhood we do this. So, one of the most heated topics is death in family. Usually when I go out, for classes or sometimes, when I leave home, I worship my parents. When I go out, I say, in Sinhala we say Yanna. Yanna means I'm going, I'm leaving. My mother said, no. Don't say Yanna. It's a Ging Enna. I'll come back. You have to say that I'll come back. And I said, I don't know whether I'll die on the way. And then you get this Asian way of punishment. The weapon. What's the weapon, Asian weapon? Mother's weapon? The slipper. Right? You get that. See why? Because we don't like to think it. We don't like to think about it. The death. But death, there is one beautiful verse that it says, out of all the meditations, death, meditation on death is the greatest. Right? When you contemplate on it, you truly understand that you have a limited time on this earth. The reason why we hold on to anger with other people is we don't think that we die, or we don't think that they will die. The reason why we hold on to anger is that we think that we live forever. That you will not. It sounds scary, right? But if you accept it, when you face it, you're ready to face it. Right? That's why the Buddha says, be ready to do that. Be ready to face it. Don't be afraid, because it's something that is always happening to people. Okay? There is one lesson that Buddha gave for Kisa Gautami. To see that death is common for everyone, not only for you. Her only child died. And she refused to accept that her only child died, that child dead. She thought he or she might have a sickness. That's why she's not waking up. And she ran across the village finding a medicine to cure this baby. But no one could bring back a dead person back to life. So, finally he went to the Buddha. And Buddha said, yes, I can cure you. I will cure you, son. And then she was so happy. And she said, tell me, I will do anything to cure my son. Then the Buddha said, yes, I will cure, but you have to bring one handful of mustard, from a home, from a house, which no one has died. Right? She was like, I will bring it, definitely. She ran to the village, went to the first house and said, can I have a handful of mustard? Then they said, yes. But there's one condition. Has anyone died in your family? Then they said, my son died last year. Then she said, no, then I don't want your mustard. She went to the other house. asked the same thing. Someone had died. To the other one, to the other one. She went to the whole village, and the only word that she heard from every house is what? Someone had died. Then she started to think, okay, death is not only for me. There is in every house someone had died. That means it is a common thing. Maybe that is the thing that happened to my child. And I am ready to accept it. And they are living their lives, but even though they have died, then I will be ready to accept it. She went back to the monastery and she said, thank you for curing not my son, but my heart. Right? So that is the acceptance. When you see that it is the common, true nature of all of our lives, you be ready to face it with a brave and a strong mind. When you accept it, then there is no space to worry. Right? When there is no worry, then you create no pain, no additional pain into existing suffering. And when you do not hate, when you do not worry, then you don't want to hate yourself. When you don't want to hate yourself, you don't want to find the sensual pleasure to satisfy and numb your pain from this outside world. And that is the way that a person does not suffer more than need. Okay. Again I will say, easy to say, difficult to do. Okay, but difficult doesn't mean impossible. Take a little step and start to accept little pains and sufferings in life. That doesn't mean you should not drink medicine, okay? Drink medicine, have medicine, do all the medications. Why? You know that it is impermanence, that you take good care of yourself. You have to be kind to yourself with a good reason. Not out of the blue, without any reason. Be kind with a good reason. Right? It's very easy for people to let go, no? Right? Have you ever said to some of your friends who is going through difficult times, just let go of it, don't worry. It's easy for us to say to someone, advise someone how to, but when the same problem becomes our problem, it's difficult. Right? So that is why the acceptance, acceptance should not be done when you're in the most difficult place in your life. Acceptance should be started today. Every day. Practice. It's something like digging a well before the drought. Right? You can't dig wells when you're in the famine, a drought, without any water. First you have to dig it before the drought. That is why people getting ready to winter before the winter comes. Right? Why? Because they know that in the winter, when it is difficult, you can't make all the other things. So then you have to get ready before it. In the same way, when you get ready to accept the reality of life, then you truly understand how much value that you have to this limited time. You give a big value to the time that you have. You give a big value to the people around you. Why? Because you know that I'm not going to be with you forever, but in this little time that I'm being with you, I give the best of kindness, compassion, care to you. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. If you think about it, you can be a good mother to your children, a good father to your children, a good husband to your wife, and a good wife to your husband, and a good child to your parents. Right? Because you know that I'm not going to be with you forever. In this little time, I don't need to hold on to any kind of anger. And I need to give my fullest love, fullest compassion in this little time. So that when you leave this world, you leave this world with no regret. I lived my life for the fullest. I gave my kindness and compassion to my people around me. So that when you leave this world, you can live with a smile on your face. There's a saying that says, when you came to this world, everyone around you smiled, became happy. But you cried. You came crying. You have to live your life in a way, when you leave this world, everyone around you is sad of having been to separate with such a beautiful person, such a wonderful heart. And when you leave this world, you think, I did my best. I did my part, that I'm happy, I'm satisfied. Then you smile. Okay. So for that, you have to think about these realities of life. And also, I always say, if you have to forgive someone, forgive them quickly. When you think about it, you can forgive someone very quickly. Don't want to hold on to regrets and anger. Let go. That's a good reason. Okay. There's a funny saying that I say in almost all the sermons. They say, don't be afraid to say sorry. When you say sorry, it doesn't mean you're wrong. When you say sorry, it means you value the person than being right. What if you prove that you're right and you lose the person? You lost the person. What's the use of it? When you say sorry, it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Sometimes you have to say sorry even when you do the correct thing. So the line goes like this. The person who says sorry when he's wrong is called humble. The person who says sorry when he doesn't know whether he's right or wrong is called wise. The person who says sorry even when he's right is called husband. Right? That you have to say sorry even when you're right. Okay? Is it just, it's right, right? Yeah, it's okay. Right? So that you have to say sorry. Okay, I agree. I'm sorry. It's not about always proving that you're right. It's about valuing the people around you. People are more valuable than our ego. Sometimes, reason why we prove ourselves right is that not because to gain something, it's just because of our ego. That I need to be satisfied. So I got this advice, don't ask questions just to prove yourself right. Ask questions to understand. Don't debate, prove yourself right. Debate to understand. Question to understand. And you do that, you come up with good questions, wise questions, practical questions. Okay. So this is the power of acceptance. This is how we should do, even though it's difficult. Little by little, practice it. And monkhood has taught me that in life you can't escape from problems. Only thing that you have to do is that face them through acceptance and wisdom with a strong mind. So I wish you all, may all of you be able to develop a strong heart, beautiful mind, beautiful heart to face the realities of life. And may all of you be able to be happy and be peaceful, and may all of you be able to realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Do you have any questions would you like to ask? You can ask. It's a little time for us. Yesterday I was giving this speech, and after that I asked, do you have any questions? And some of them raised their hands. And after the sermon, after everything was finished, one lady came up and I had a lot of questions I can't say in front of people. So what should I do? That's why sometimes we have problems and questions that you can't say in front of people. It's okay. We all go through the similar kind of problems in life, at different levels, but the same. Okay. Yes, any questions that you have to discuss, to understand, then you can ask. Yeah?
So I heard about last month, somebody was saying, and it's just been playing with me what to answer. But they said, nothing happens in life without your consent. And I couldn't, is that correct or not correct? Yes, I've been, it's a very difficult question.
So let's clarify this. So the saying is, nothing happens in life without your consent.
Yeah.
I would say the external things that happens in the world, in life, external world things, happens out of our control. You go get ready to work, it starts to rain.
Yeah.
Manchester is quite easy. The normal nature, Liverpool, here it's raining, right? Yes, the typical way. Yes. So it starts to rain. It's not something that is under your control.
Yes.
We didn't wish for that. So there are things that are external things, incidents, scenarios that happens out of our control. Even though how much you drive safely, someone can hit your car. Right? Yeah. That's the thing. See, my father was someone who was always getting angry when he is driving, because he needs everyone to follow the road rules. And I said, if you expect everyone to follow road rules, you will always be angry. You will always worry. Why? You can't control that. So these are things that are not under your control. You're not wishing for it without happening. That happens without your choice or permission.
But that's what puzzled me. So it was my consent to get in the car, so I'm taking the chance anyway.
Yeah, but some way you have to do.
Yeah.
But it was not your intention to make it happen.
No,
right?
But I consented to drive, so
Yeah.
it's just a puzzle for me.
Yes. So there are things, see, external things, there are things that are not under our control, right? But the way we react to things, okay, the way we react to the things that happens in external experience happens with our own choice, with our own consent, right? So we make the conscious choice to react in that way. And then we can't complain that why it happened to me, because it happened also with my reaction, with our reaction, with our consent, with our choice. So the best way to realize this is that there are things that are not under our control. That is why the Buddha put karma. The Buddha said that karma is not the only thing that affects your life. Sometimes it's the weather, right? Sometimes it's the what do you call this? People say expressions. Okay? You didn't wish for that, right? So it happens. In a deeper level, the reason, let's say, you get into the car, the reason why you made that choice, right? In a deeper level, you can say that it was your choice, it was because of your choice. But if we think like that, then we can't do anything, we can't control anything that happens to us. And then we will start to worry, because I was my fault always. No, sometimes not always your fault. Sometimes the reason why it was raining, right? So don't give the fullest complaint or fullest focus to your choices. Okay? So you can, through your choice, you can make an experience a good one or a bad one. Let's say a person is triggered with anger. Now you will come up with two choices: whether to react with anger, or whether to be patient and solve it in the assertive way. Not being submissive and not being aggressive. It's always your choice. And after you react in that way, you could have made that experience a bad one, but you made it a good one. Get it? Yes, that's the thing. Yes? Anything you want to ask?
Can I ask a question? If something to listen to, so like whatever happens to us, whether it's good or bad, you can learn something from it. My sister lost her baby when he was just 10 months old. Is that just, have we just got to accept that, or is there something we can learn from that?
Yes. See, when such things happen in life, she was like the baby, she lost, was 10 when she was 10 months old, was the thing, right? Good. So, in such places, I know that it is really painful, right? It's really hurting to lose someone that you love, right? And this is also a reality that we face in all of our lives. As long as we have people around us, right, loved ones around us, we will lose them. That's the nature. Okay? So it is a great lesson. You can turn it into a great lesson. But I don't say that you should not worry at this. You should not be sad. You will be sad. Right? When the Buddha came back to the palace to teach the Buddha's teachings with the people who were in the palace, the Buddha's former, when he was a prince, the wife, Yashodhara, she was going through a huge agony, like pain and suffering of losing him. And she didn't come to meet the Buddha. She didn't came down from the room and meet the Buddha. When the Buddha was in the palace, Buddha asked, "Where is Yashoda?" And the king said, "She's in upstairs. She didn't come down after you left. She always stayed in the room and she's still crying, going through pain." Do you know what Buddha did? He went to the room, went near to the room, opened the door and called Yashodhara. When she heard the word Yashodhara, she knew that he has come. But now he is the Buddha. But she couldn't help herself. She ran and she grabbed his foot and then started to cry, lament, break down in front of him. The king was like, "He's the Buddha. I need to take out." The Buddha said, "No. Let her cry." Right? Let her cry and let her release that pain. Sometimes, when you go through difficulties, you will cry. Right? Doesn't mean the Buddha says that you should not cry. Buddha says, make your heart up to a place where that you find no reason to cry. Doesn't mean that you are inhuman, you are cold-hearted. The people who don't cry, when it is difficult, some people say, "Oh, you're very cold-hearted." Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they've developed this quality of acceptance. It's not about not feeling the emotions of sadness. They do feel it, but they understand why it happens. Okay, so the best thing for someone who went through such an experience is, first, as you, that happened to your sister? Yes. You can be someone who can absorb the pain and suffering from them and make their heart healed. Through what? Listening. Sit down beside them and listen to their pain and suffering. This is what, as a monk, that I get to do. I'm very lucky to meet a lot of people. They come to the temple and they talk with me to solve their problems. Every time they come with the problems, right? If she's a woman, if she's a woman, I'm not someone who's giving advice. I don't give advice usually to women at first. Well, we need to listen. So what I do, I take a good time to listen and to express their pain and suffer and let go of that. And I hand over the tissue box. Take it. It's okay. Cry. Right? Cry with someone. If it's okay to cry. Cry with someone who you can understand. So it can be the person who can understand. Right? When you do that, then you get the consciousness to deal with it. So that's the normal human nature of all of us to cry. So, when you do that, it takes time. You may have to stay here, listen to their pains and sufferings for maybe sometimes for weeks. But after that, they get the consciousness to accept and to find what to do. Right? I always say, if you're, like, let's say someone who you loved died. If that person looking at you from somewhere and seeing that you're crying, worrying, will they be happy? No. But if you do something good, if you help people, right? If you help people in the name of your loved ones, right? Remembering them, will they be happy? Definitely. That is why in Buddhist practice, when someone passes away, when our loved ones pass away, we give a lot of givings. We help people. We do a lot of merits, good karma, on behalf of the person who passed away. So that when they see, they become happy with our actions. See, that's the happiness that we get. Let's say someone was helping others, right? Someone did some good things, right? And said, when I was doing this, right? When I was doing this good thing, I remembered you. I missed you, right? So I missed you, so I did this good thing on behalf of you. Will you be happy? Yes. Why? Because that's the love. That's the correct way of love. So one of the best ways to do that, things to do, is when someone passed away in your life. It is painful, but start to do something good. That means start giving or helping people on behalf of them, on the name of them. So that even that person, if they are seeing what we are doing, they become happy. It's one good thing that you can do. Right? It's one good healing way. And you learn a lot of lessons through pain and suffering. It's not the victory and luxury and happiness that always teaches us many things. It's the painful things. Right? I remember my volleyball coach. When we win a tournament, the next day is the most difficult training session. The day after. He always said, do not let the happiness, pleasure, victory to delude your mind. You can celebrate, you can be happy, but do not overdo it. Right? You have to be happy, but understand that if you did not heal, if you did not focus on yourself, someday then you are going to fall down again. Right? It's the pain and suffering that we learn many lessons, yes. Any other questions? So we all need to have this wonderful quality of listening. Okay? Don't reject when your children talk to you. Sometimes they talk doesn't mean anything. It's okay. Listen. Right? But they understand that they are listening to me. After some time, they will understand I must not waste their time. Yeah. Yes? Any other? So let's wind up. All of you say sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. First of all, let's all together share all the merits. First of all, let's share all the merits with all the devas who protect the Gautam Buddha's dispensation. May all the devas rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy, may they live long, and may they protect all the devotees who joined this Dhamma sermon today. And may all the devas realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share the merits with all the departed relatives of all of us. May all the departed relatives rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy, and may they escape from this samsara as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share the merits with our Pinod Lokaswami Vahanse, and with the monks and the nuns of Mahavira Monastery, and with all the Mahasangha all around the world. May Mahasangha rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy. May they live long, may they live a happy life, and may they realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's share the merits with our parents and our teachers and all of our family members. May all of them rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy. May they live long, may they live a happy life, and may they realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Finally, may all of you devotees rejoice in this merit by the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. May all of you be well and happy, may all of you live long, may all of you live a happy life, and may all of you realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, I'm blessing you. Abhivadana silis nicham vada pachayam Chattaro dhamma vadanti ayvanu sukham balam Ayurarogya sampatti sakha sampatti mevacha Ato nibbana sampatti minate samijatu. Supatu. Sad sadhu anuta. Sadhu anudite.
Sadhu anudami. Okasagaratena. Katasapamachya kampurivante. Okasakamavivante. Dutyampi okasakamavivante. Tatyampi okasakamavivante.
Supatu. Thank you for coming.
Excuse me. Diana? It was like 300 minutes. Dude, that's 10 hours. That's 10 hours. Yes. We know. 9 hours. Minutes. We know. That's 10 minutes or something. Or 11 minutes. No. That's 8 hours. 8 hours. 8 hours. No, that. 8 hours is so short. And it's
अरे इधर आने को तेरे कैमरा दिखाते हैं
Yeah, you can do that. Huh?
Sure, I feel like I know him now. Another one. 2 times.
Which one?
One comes out.
It looks like Ungido.
And I know it's not the same as Sharma Fosa.
Yeah.
It's the same as Sharma Fosa. to where the end of the crowd is.
Darma,
Somebody about the other side of the film now.
YouTube or something, never say. Share that.
Put this on YouTube, yes. You put this on YouTube.
Yeah. You alright, Colin? You okay?
Fine.
Because it is very logical with being compared. But it has its own different ways of comparison. You can't say one is better. Yeah, so it's two different ways approaching the same.
You pass that on to the bit you've got to I don't start like to Can you just pass them on?
I don't like talking in the queue. That'd be thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.